Okay, we're in chapter 6, rational expressions. We're working on 6.2, adding or subtracting unlike denominators. So if your denominators are not the same, then you have to make them the same. This would be the first step to adding or subtracting unlike denominators. So if I had this rational expression and I'm trying to subtract, again, this is when you're actually like adding or subtracting. I'm not trying to find just an LCD. This would just be the first step of adding or subtracting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to factor this completely. This is a 2-term, no GCF with a difference of 2 squares. So this is going to factor to k plus 2, k minus 2. This is a 3-term polynomial with no GCF. So I'm going to use hippo butts and say this is k plus 2, k minus 1, because multiplied together that equals a -2 and added together equals a +1. So I can look over here and I can clearly see, hey, this term, this bottom term right here, it doesn't have this k minus 1. So I need to multiply by the k minus 1. But whatever I do to the bottom, I also have to do to the top. Same thing here. This one has a k plus 2 and a k minus 1, but it doesn't have this k minus 2. So whatever I do to the bottom of this one, I need to do to the top. Okay, so let's figure out what we have on top. What we just did here is we said, hey, we have to have the same denominator. So we found the denominator, or the LCD, by factoring. The next step we did is we identified the missing factor. And we multiplied each fraction top to bottom by the missing factor. Multiply each fraction by its missing factor. Again, we're going to multiply both the top and the bottom, top and bottom, bottom, top, by its missing factor. So right here, these will form equivalent fractions. So let's see what our new equivalent fractions are. Or equivalent expressions, I guess we should call these. So on top, I'm going to distribute. So I will have 5k squared and a minus 5k on the top of this fraction right here. This fraction, this negative, belongs to that 2, so I need to distribute the negative in. Okay, so -2 times k is a -2k. -2 times a -2 is a +4. This is what I have on top. What I have on the bottom is the LCD, because both of these now have the same denominator. Now when they have the same, I can write them over it only once. I often skip this bottom step here because I don't like to rewrite multiple times. Now when I simplify this top, I get a 5k squared minus a 7k, minus a 7k plus 4. Question is, can we factor this? Can I simplify? So our next step here that we did, we formed these equivalent fractions and then we combined right here. So we combine like terms. Okay, this is where you do the actual addition or subtraction. Okay, and then the last thing we need to do is see if it can be simplified. So if I can simplify this, the way I'm going to simplify, remember, simplify by factoring and canceling. So I'm just going to check here and say, okay, well, this is a 3-term polynomial with no GCF, so I'm going to do a 5 times a +4 and get a +20. See if there are any factors of +20. So I've got 1 in 20, 2 and 10, 4 and 5. None of these factors will ever sum to this negative 7, so this cannot be factored. This is a prime polynomial up here. However, on the bottom then we would just leave it so that it says k minus 1, k plus 2, k minus 2, and this would be our simplified form. Again, you have to perform this check to see if it can be simplified. In this case, it cannot.